Welcome to the Sailor Noob podcast, where a superfan and a noob talk about the original Sailor Moon episode by episode. I'm your host, Mikan Hana, joined by my co-host.
I'm Caliban. Give me nowhere to go. And the rabbit on the moon makes rice cakes.
That's right.
Repeat, the rabbit on the moon makes rice cakes.
Absolutely. We're a couple of magical people ready to moon prison power make up this episode. Sailor Noob is a part of the Just Enough Trope Network. So I thought we could start by talking about some things that came up.
Rice cakes.
You want to talk about rice cakes? We can do that. I have that on here.
This is rabbit wearing gloves. I'd be uncomfortable if the rabbit was making my rice cakes.
I don't think so.
This isn't like we're not losing weight with Usagi with these rice cakes. That's not what they're talking about.
Oh, no. No.
You spread a little peanut butter on there, some Nutella or something.
Peanut butter's not really popular in Japan. I had to get it sent over to me.
Do tell.
They just don't really eat it. It's not really a thing.
Well, save it. Maybe we'll get to peanut butter someday.
Yeah, okay. So, if we want to talk about the rabbit moon, the rabbit in the moon myth a little bit, the myth talks about how there is a man in the moon,
right,
who disguised himself as a beggar, and he goes down to Earth, and he wants to test there's these three animal friends. There's a kitsune, a fox.
I'm lost already.
Saru, a monkey. And
Usagi,
a rabbit.
Okay.
And he wants to figure out who is the kindest.
Oh.
So he's dressed as a beggar, and he's like, can you get me some food? The fox brings him a fish. The monkey brings him some fruit. And as the story goes, the rabbit can only find grass. So the rabbit feels really bad about this, and he's like, okay, make a fire, and I'm going to jump on it, and then you can eat me. And then the man in the moon is like, whoa. Before you do that, you're obviously the kindest one. I'm going to take you up to the moon with me.
Most insane one.
Yeah, I know. But, not thinking of themselves. And
no, not at all.
Exactly. So he brought him back to the moon with him. And he revealed himself to be the man in the moon, I should also say.
I'm not really a homeless person. I'm just a hipster.
Right? So he brought him back to live on the moon. And it is said that the rabbit in the moon is pounding mochi, which is it's made from
a rice paste.
Yeah, it is. Traditionally, mochi is made from rice and water. So basically, the custom mochi pounding ceremony is called mochi suki. So you got moon in there, and it's glossy, sticky rice, and it's steeped in water overnight, and it's steamed over the fire to cook it.
Wow.
And then the rice is pounded. It's like a big mortar and pestle. Kine is the mallet that's made out of the wood, and the usu is the mortar.
Okay. Well, this must be the myth, because I would not trust our heroine Usagi to do this at all.
No, and it
seems like a lot of mechanical workings, a lot of responsibility.
And it's actually kind of
a lot of fire.
Difficult to do it. Like usually you have two people doing it. So mochi takes many different forms. One form you can find in the grocery store is it's like in these little blocks. So it's like rice cakes.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those.
You puff them up. They puff up when you eat over the fire. So I think that's what they're talking about.
Okay.
And we had another question about parentheses in Japan. Do they use them?
Did we?
Yes, it came up because we were talking about quotation marks, I should say. Like, do they use them sarcastically? So
that's like the main way I communicate. So it's important to know if the Japanese would understand that or not.
Well, so they do have quotation marks that they use in writing, obviously. But I'm going to show them to you now. They're called like half brackets.
This is great for a podcast.
I know. They kind of look like L's and
it's like
upside
L's
down.
And like fat L's.
Yes, and so
doubles.
the single, and then they've got the double.
Now that must be an adaptation or an adoption from Western culture, right? I can't imagine. That looks like them going, well, we can improve on that. Let's stylize that a little bit.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was it. I think they also, because sometimes they have like tick marks on like the symbols, like the katakana or the hiragana or the kanji, and so I think it's to differentiate from that too. Like
to indicate what?
Well, sometimes it'll be part of the letter. Sometimes I'm trying to think is like, so it'll be
it's like wearing a hat or something.
Right. So like you have like different letters, and like sometimes these tick marks, if you see the tick marks, it's pronounced differently than without them. Okay. For example. So they do use them in like the similar way that we do, but they don't really use them for sarcasm.
No, they love wordplay. We know that.
Yes, they do love wordplay. And I actually came across...
It's just all wordplay.
Right.
Japanese Jerry Seinfeld is just going through the coffee shop and just pointing out that cup means garage or something like that in Chinese.
No,
and it's just super hilarious.
Right, exactly.
And it's like... It's like a shamisen instead of a guitar.
I like it.
All right. Well, do we have an episode? Or
we do.
Okay.
But I saw many articles that were just kind of warning people to be careful about using sarcasm. Like, you can use sarcasm in Japanese, but, like, do it with people you know. Don't do it with, like, random strangers and people that you don't really know that well.
I'd be in trouble for sure.
And we had one other thing I'm going to talk about really quick. Telling time in Japan, they largely do use the 24-hour clock. But they do use AM and PM as well. And I was thinking largely of when I was learning Japanese, because we used AM and PM like all the time. And I ran across something that said when it's written down, they use like the 24-hour clock. So like if there's a time on a concert ticket, for example, it'll be within the 24 hours. And when it's spoken, it's going to be more likely the AM and PM.
That's super confusing.
You think so?
Yeah.
Let's get into it, shall we? We're talking about episode number 14 today. Arata naru kyoteki nephrite mano mancho in Japanese, or a new enemy appears, Nephrite's evil crest, the English translation, and the English title, Match Point for Sailor Moon.
Okay. So, less said the better.
Yeah. Would you like to give us a brief synopsis of the episode?
I would. I mean, we're in a kind of scary time. We're post Jadeite here.
I know.
And moving forward, so who knows what's going to happen, but we're going to keep it together. Let's see. We open with no preview for this episode.
Yeah.
We usually get the little, this is what's going to happen. I'm yelling at the monster of the week,
right?
Who has no chance to rebut, and then telling them that they're going to get punished in the name of the moon. We don't have that. Instead, we get a little different spiel from Usagi. She says that she doesn't look like a superhero, but she is one. And then also Rei and Ami are in the opening as well,
which is a nice touch.
This is usually it's I'm 14 years old. That's about it.
Right.
Now she's a superhero. Yes.
Moving up in the world.
Well, we open in the Dark Kingdom, and our new bad guy, Nephrite, is trying to sell Beryl on a new plan here. Jadeite's plan was to take energy from just anybody. Nephrite's plan is to get energy from one person, and he argues that people's lives are controlled by the stars. Okay, astrologer dude. And everybody has a moment in their life where they hit their peak energy. And so he's going to read the stars, and they're going to hit people at their highest. Forget jewelry sales. We're going to wait till somebody has concentrated all this energy, and we're going to take them down when they're ripe.
Yes.
I didn't know that Gene Dixon worked for the Dark Kingdom, but here we go. And somebody isn't impressed by this plan. It is another bad guy in the ranks here, so we're just piling them on. They come floating down, and their name is Zoisite.
That is correct.
And they're not, like I said, kind of impressed by the plan, kind of taunting to Nephrite, but he's like, whatever, I'm gonna get this done. And he gets the go-ahead from Beryl, so we go forward with that. Back on Earth, reporters are interviewing a girl named Rui, who we are introduced to. She is a young tennis player. And that just happens. They're sort of chasing her around Hard Day's Night style. And suddenly in Tokyo, the worst city in the world to live in, terrifying, a forested hill appears out of nowhere. It was not there 2 seconds ago. Now it's here. And it's got a mysterious, haunted-looking house on top of it, which is apparently Nephrite's base of operations. So So there you go. Inside the house, Nephrite is asking the stars, stick with me here, to grant them their power. And he's got like this planetarium looking thing in the main hall. And a beam of light shoots out of it and strikes him in the forehead, giving him, Philip K. Dick style, the information.
Yes.
That he says that Sagittarius is going to fire his arrow at the center of the Milky Way.
Uh-huh.
And the target that he selects, or that is selected for him, is Rui Saionji, this young tennis player.
Yes.
That's why we saw her. So we cut to Juban Middle School, and Rui is playing tennis. She's winning a tennis match, and Naru and Usagi are cheering her on. And we learn that Rui and Naru are childhood friends that consider themselves sisters. Mm-hmm. Naru thinks of her as her older sister. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of sandbagging. We didn't know about that until now, but what do you do?
We learn things as we go.
A Ferrari tears through the streets of Tokyo and pulls up in front of the tennis courts and outsteps a handsome, successful, business-looking man. And obviously it's Nephrite. I mean, this is a Jadeite level disguise.
I know.
And all the girls are like, oh, he's so handsome. And they just literally cannot see death right in front of them.
Nope.
But that's par for the course. He also just standing leaps over a chain link fence. There's a front somersault over a 12-foot fence. That'd be a dead giveaway. And he starts mansplaining tennis to Rui right away. He's telling her what she's doing wrong. And so she hits the ball to him, and he gets a racket and just cranks it right back at her and blows her away. And he introduces himself as Masato Sanjuin, a tennis coach.
Right.
So he's going to be her tennis coach. He grabs her racket, and he does something to it. He possesses it or puts some kind of spirit, it looks like, inside. He says it's his loyal monster, and it gives it back to her, and it's got like a crest on it, the Nephrite crest, which is his mark. So a boy steps up to volunteer to play against her, and now she's got black eyes, like a doll's eyes, and she just hammers this guy. She blasts him. The ball actually disintegrates when it hits the court, so she's just crushing everybody. Yeah. So it seems like it's kind of like a deal with the devil, to get more strength. Only you don't know you're making the deal. Which is
she didn't sign up for this.
Kind of unfair.
Yeah.
Maybe her sin was the ambition of wanting to be the best tennis coach. But anyway, or a player. Later that night in Juhancho, Luna is back at the arcade. She's tuning in. It's codename 0091. The rabbit's making rice cakes on the moon.
Yep.
And she's talking to her superiors through the Sailor V game. And the person on the other end, who we have not met yet, says that they have discovered who the enemy is. And Luna's like, wow, really?
I know, right?
And they're like, of course. And Luna's like, oh, yes, of course you have. You're the boss. And she tells her, or whoever it is tells Luna, that they're called the Dark Kingdom and they're after energy. And this is all new information for Luna. This is information that we have been, this dramatic irony we've been privy to the entire time. But it's surprising to me that this cat with the Band-Aid on its head didn't even know what it was here to do, except for to find the princess. Mm-hmm. So later at the shrine, Ray's shrine, Luna is passing this info on. She's telling the girls that they've got to get tougher. And Usagi says, maybe we could play tennis to get tougher.
Yeah.
And I know a cute coach. And Ray immediately is like, well, what happened to Tuxedo Mask? I thought you were so hot on him. Uh-huh. And Luna also, everybody gangs up on Usagi at this point.
I know. And
Luna says, it's a good thing that I've got Ray and Ami, or all of mankind's energy would be gone.
Which is so mean.
It's like, Jesus, come on. And then Ray turns around and says, maybe it's a mistake. Maybe it's a mistake that Usagi's with us at all. Maybe she's not supposed to be Sailor Moon.
How could Usagi not be upset by that? I mean, come on.
Well, she starts crying, of course.
Yeah.
And Ami defends her because she does. She's the best of us. And Usagi says, oh, thanks for defending me. Do you want to play tennis with me? But of course, Ami can't because she's got cram school. This is her kryptonite. This is the thing that's going to hold her back. It's like the first season of Justice League when Superman keeps getting knocked through giant robots while Batman does cool stuff because Bruce Timm doesn't like Superman.
Right.
But it's also the problem of if Superman was at full power, this would be over already. It's a short episode.
Right.
So I think cram school is keeping this incredibly smart, talented, and focused individual from solving all their problems immediately. We saw that at the amusement park at Dreamland for sure.
That's true.
Back on the court, Rui is getting really dark at this point. She's, her eyes are black. She's beating people. She's like, you will play me. And she's just knocking people out. And Naru's getting really worried. We cut to Naru's place later, and Naru's having Usagi over for tea. And she says that she's really worried about Rui. And we get a flashback of Rui and Naru playing together as children. And I think it's really interesting. I mean, it's the whole series, and all the main characters are girls, but I like the fact that we are seeing real female friendships here.
Yeah,
You've
for
got
sure.
the thing with, and I was opining that she was a tsundere before, but you've got the whole like fierce Rei who's going to fight with Usagi, but it isn't like all the female characters have to like hate each other and compete because that's what happens. Like you've got like real relationships here.
Yes.
And Usagi, as dumb as they often paint her, we'll get to it in a little bit, is concerned about this. And she knows that she has to do something about this. And so she says that she'll help her investigate.
Mm-hmm.
So that night they go to the tennis school that Rui goes to, which is like a clinic or something like that.
Something like that. It's
not
just
like a school where she's reading books about tennis.
No, she's just practicing tennis.
And Usagi has been in this position before. She's worried that a monster might be involved, but her motives aren't 100% pure because she also thinks that if she can solve this case, then Luna and Rei will have to take her more seriously.
Right.
So we see Rui playing singles against double, basically. She's playing like her against two other players and just crushing them. And Naru runs out and begs her to stop. And Rui is really strung out at this point. Like she's like, no, I'll have all the tennis power or whatever.
Right.
And she charges up and she fires like a big blast of wind, or maybe it's just she swings so hard that it like creates a shockwave. But basically she just blows Usagi and Naru back into a bush.
I know.
And this is where we cut to Nephrite's eyes opening and saying like, all right, this is it. I got to get that energy. It's time. And he calls forth Tensi.
Yeah. It's,
or whatever.
Right.
Who is his monster. And Rui is surrounded. Everything goes like red, like it's fire, or like, like Goku's like blasting or something like that. Mm-hmm. That's my point of reference. And a dark shape, like a spirit type thing, coalesces. Comes out of the racket and coalesces into this week's Yuma, Tensi, who has a interesting kind of look. Has like a flat top. This is crazy, but I thought it looked kind of like a Marvel character.
Okay.
Because it's got like a suit, like a form-fitting suit, but then like a shoulder thing that goes out into like pointed shoulder pads, like Mr. Sinister or like the Molecule Man used to have a costume like that.
Sure.
I don't know.
Like very pointed shoulders. Like it kind of almost looks like
a mantle type thing. Yeah.
Or like a jester, like what would be around their neck, except it's pointy.
Like a cowl?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe,
I guess.
I don't know.
So that and the J. Jonah Jameson flat top is like, there's a lot of Marvel energy in this character. So it looks like Naru is either in the bush or knocked out at this point because Usagi runs off and transforms into Sailor Moon and confronts her and just improvs a line. A monster can never aim for the ace. It's like, keep it up.
Yeah,
keep it up, Usagi. You're doing great.
I know.
She's misusing tennis for evil, she tells her. And even Navratilova is crying right now.
Yeah.
Look it up, kids. Martina Navratilova, 18-time Grand Slam winner. So we get the full intro from the full transformation. This isn't an abbreviated transformation, which is awesome. But it usually means that Usagi's going to get her ass kicked. Tensi creates an evil tennis racket and hits like this ball of dark energy at her or something, and encases her in a tennis ball. Now, there's a trick of perspective in this, and I'm not sure if it's just the animation, but it felt like she shrank her down, like it was a regular sized tennis ball.
Oh, okay, sure.
That's kind of what it looked like at times, but not at other times.
Yeah, other times it looked like it was a very large
Yeah, because she's in the background while the monster's in the foreground, and so it's hard to tell. But there's one part where she hits her. She goes right inside of the fault line. And I used to play tennis in school, so like I know how big the fault line is, and compared to the ball. So it seems like she's inside the ball.
I see what you're saying.
But I don't know.
Right.
Anyway, Usagi's, like, I immediately regret this decision. And as she's getting knocked all around the court, a rose sinks into the presumably clay court.
Presumably.
And Tuxedo Mask arrives.
Yes.
So much for girl power. Tuxedo Mask actually sticks around this time.
He does.
And he displays a new ability. He has an extending cane.
First time we've seen that.
Which is a lot like Goku's extending staff. And knocks the monster down. And now they start fighting together. And Usagi's really pumped about this. Because she's like, I get to fight with Tuxedo Mask. This is great. And Tensi's response is just to start blasting fireballs just all over the place, just immolating the entire court. And Tuxedo Mask grabs Sailor Moon out of the way, and he hits Tensi in the face with a rose. But right after he does that, he looks like he's weakened by something.
Yeah,
like
he does.
Looks like he's electrocuted or something. He goes down to his knees. But he's like, quick, give her the old moon tiara action.
Magic. Yeah.
Which we do. Takes out the monster. Done.
Yes.
And just out of nowhere, Mercury and Mars just arrive.
Yep.
Because it's time to end the episode. And they see, they've arrived just in time to see Usagi defeat the Yoma. And Tuxedo Mask isn't there. So it looks like Sailor Moon did the whole thing.
Right.
Just what she wanted.
Right. She wanted the credit.
And the next day, Naru and Usagi are back at the tennis courts. And Rei doesn't remember anything. And what I want to know is, what does Naru think happened?
I don't know what
She's
Naru
worried about her
thinks
sister,
happened. Yeah,
who's running with a bad crowd,
right,
and who's wearing black contacts. They go to confront her at the tennis school.
Yeah.
She explodes into a fireball and knocks her into a bush, presumably unconscious.
Yes.
And then when she wakes up, everything's fine.
Right, and like Rui's like, I don't remember what happened, but it's fine. Yeah,
I'm fine
I know.
So anyway,
she just kind of accepts it at face value.
You have to.
Yeah.
This dystopia that they live in. Usagi wonders what it would be like to play tennis with Tuxedo Mask. Maybe she will someday. Yeah. And because it's a comedy show, she gets hit in the face by a tennis ball. And we're out.
I think that was by Naru, too. So.
Oh, okay.
Because Rui wanted her to play with her. I think it's a pretty interesting episode. And I like that we have a new bad guy who has a new take on things.
Which is interesting. I wanted to talk about Nephrite's name. Nephrite is the word is for the other variety of jade. I think we talked about this when Jadeite was on the show, or when we first met him. Jadeite is an aluminum-rich version of jade. Nephrite is a magnesium-rich version of jade. And I think it's considered less precious. Jadeite is what you think of when you think of like green, like a rich green jade.
Okay, sure.
Nephrite has a more yellow or brown color. It's often called mutton fat jade. So it's like a whitish or yellowish jade.
Okay.
And by now it should make sense, but zoisite is another type of crystal or a gemstone, which can come in a variety of colors depending on its composition. It can be blue or pink or red or purple. The blue variety is known as tanzanite, and the pink is called thulite.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
And we should note, I guess, at this time, since we are meeting Zoisite for the first time, that Zoisite was a character when they brought Sailor Moon over to the dub and Deke. They changed Zoisite from being a male character to a female character.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So there's a change there.
Why?
Because of a relationship that Zoisite has with another character.
Okay. We'll get there.
That is all I'm going to say for now.
Enough. How would you describe Just Enough Trope? We are the Just Enough Trope podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mikan Hana.
Oh no, does this mean they can hear all the things I yell at the TV during Downton Abbey?
Why did you do that?
How do you plead?
Let the game begin. Yeah, check these fresh moves. Oh!
Don't shoot man in face.
This isn't the Save Gotham fundraiser.
It's the Chill Family Reunion.
Master Yoda assigned a Padawan to this bold Jedi.
I believe it's pronounced Padawan.
Oh, Padawan, excuse me.
Hey, it's getting late. I think Ralph's going to want his motorcycle back.
Go jerk off the pictures of Dean Gray.
I am freaking getting old.
Yeah, I noticed the life clock was blinking in your hand.
Get out of here, Wilson. Go fight the Teen Titans or something.
I'm unkillable, not unwoundable.
You like Sailor Moon, right? Why don't you sail on his
Wow.
Just Enough Trope. News, reviews, and geek fondue. Every Monday on the Just Enough Trope podcast network.
Loving me never have a say. You so be sorry.
What? For Kyoro Miru, Curiously Looking Around, where we talk about Japanese culture within the episode, I thought we could talk a little bit about tennis in Japan. Tennisu is the Japanese word for tennis. Yeah.
Still trying to figure that out.
The Yoma.
Tensi.
I think it is a kind of we're just going off of the tennis word and we're making a bad guy's name out of it.
Sure.
That's what I think.
Fuwawa.
Right, exactly. There's a lot of anime that feature tennis very prominently, like Prince of Tennis, Soft Tenny, Ace O Nere, Baby Steps, and one of my favorites, Marmalade Boy.
Are they all just the same escalation situation? Which is my my band's new LP.
I like it.
Where it's just like, Punch Out makes a lot of sense now. Remember Punch Out? No, of course you don't.
No.
Punch Out was Mike Tyson's Punch Out was a game for the NES, one of the first games to come out in the NES. And on it you fight a succession of boxers.
Okay.
You're Lil Mac or whatever, and you're trying to beat these boxers, and each one of them has their own kind of style.
Sure.
And they're also all get better until you face Iron Mike Tyson himself, right?
Sure.
So you've got like Soda Popinski, and you've got Glass Joe, and you got all these other guys, Italian stereotype, until you reach Mike Tyson. And like anime is like the same. Like Goku fights, this guy's not that great. He's got a mustache or something, and then later on he's like fighting the Moon has become a bad guy.
This is a really great question that I don't really know the answer to, because I would assume there's a little bit of that.
I'm positing that the Prince of Tennis, he fights. Yes. He plays the King of Tennis at the end of that manga,
I think you're probably right.
Yeah,
with a show like Marmalade Boy, it's a very kind of soap opera-y
it's
thing.
a different thing,
right? So, tennis first came to Japan around the late 1800s. And it was
to the Dutch.
Well, it was like brought over by foreigners, so I'm sure a lot of them were Dutch. And there was a group that formed in Yokohama using the name Ladies Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club. That's LLTCC.
Spell that?
Yeah, right.
Rich people.
Right, exactly.
Yen. I smell yen.
Yes.
Or were they using Rio still?
I don't know when that switched over, to be perfectly honest.
The yen was like manufactured, right? That was them going, whatever, I'm just one of their cultural peoples. They're like,
right.
All right, paper money, let's just do this.
Probably.
And then they made the yen, right?
Yeah, that sounds Japanese to me.
Instead of having a cord, you've got a billfold now. It's
right.
Crazy.
Exactly. So there was a professor in 1886, Tetsubo Gendo, who brought tennis to Tokyo High Normal School, and the tennis rackets and balls and everything were very expensive because they had to be imported over. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. So because of this, the Japanese made a rubber ball called a mari, which was used instead of a regular tennis ball for a while because it was less expensive.
Like a racquetball?
Yeah. And
okay.
In 1913, they changed it back to the traditional tennis ball. By 1920, Japanese athletes won some medals at the Summer Olympics. It was becoming much more popular. So they were missionaries from different denominations that came to Japan, and their favorite vacation spot is the city Karuizawa, which is in the Japanese Alps close to Nagano. And these missionaries brought a lot of tennis courts to the area.
Missionaries love tennis. We know this.
At least in Japan, that seems to be true. And then I just wanted to talk briefly about Naomi Osaka, who is a Japanese tennis star today. She won the 2018 U.S. Open against...
She beat Serena.
Yeah. Who is her idol.
Which... yeah, well, not anymore.
And she's half Haitian, half Japanese. And when you are... a Japanese national, there's a national act for individuals who are biracial. They have to choose their citizenship by the age of 22. She just turned 22, and she decided that the Japanese Summer Olympics in 2020, she's going to compete as a Japanese person. So she
which no shade on Haiti, but. That seems, let's see, crazy video games, and technology, and great food, or like earthquakes all the time.
Right.
But, plot twist, what if she went Haiti and then, like, Haiti must field somebody in the Olympics every year, right?
Well, they must. Yeah.
So, but I bet they don't bring it home for tennis.
Probably
so
not.
suddenly she could like gold medal in tennis and be like the pride of Haiti.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely true. But I guess like her her last name is Osaka. Like that's her mother's maiden name. And she was born in Japan. She lived there for like till she was like 3 years old. Her mom said that like, growing up in Japan and they are always, it was always the
name's Osaka.
Right.
What do you want?
That they were always she was always going to be choose Japanese for her heritage, but
give Haiti a chance.
I know.
It was a tough decision.
Right.
She will always have been Japanese. That's pretty Japanese.
Yeah.
To do.
No, you're right. Itadakimasu with Usagi. In this episode, Usagi goes over to Naru's house and they have tea. It doesn't look like they're eating anything with this. I mean, often you would have, and it looks kind of like an English tea set, not really a Japanese tea set, but often you would have, maybe cold tea if it's hot outside. And like some kind of fruit because fruit tends to be a little bit more expensive in Japan because a lot of it is imported.
Oh, it's like a treat.
Right. Exactly.
Where are the Japanese at vis-a-vis walkers?
Having walkers to use as
No.
the elderly?
We're still
What are you
talking about tea. Walkers, cookies, biscuits, shortbread.
Oh, sure. I mean, I think that's an option too. There are a lot of Japanese treats and stuff like that.
They probably got it in pill form, and you pull a string, and it like cooks itself, blows up into like a dinosaur.
Well, I don't know about
cookie
that,
or something like
but
that.
I gotta say, like packaging in Japan, like in some ways it's like awesome, but in other ways, like for the environment, it's like terrible. Everything's like individually wrapped.
New islands.
Yeah, well, there you go.
They should make land. There's no land on the ocean.
Japan would love to make land, I think.
They are. They're making these garbage islands.
That's true. My Heart is a Kaleidoscope, where we talk about the fashion in Sailor Moon and what they are wearing. I thought we'd talk a little bit about Usagi and Naru's outfit when they go to confront Rui. Naru is wearing a yellow blouse and a long orange skirt and a turquoise bow. Usagi is wearing a button-up short-sleeve pink shirt and like purple shorts.
This is only like a show from the early 90s based on manga from the
Early 90s.
Yeah, 1990 or whatever. Mm-hmm. From a woman that was, young, 1920 when she was doing it, right?
Yeah.
So this should be like the height of young women's fashion at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Are these girls... Don't they seem like they're dressed like old maids
frumpy.
a little bit?
Yes.
Not frumpy, but just from like a JCPenney catalog.
Yeah,
How come they're not wearing a God is always eying you shirt or something like that and like sneakers?
I don't know. I mean, also I think we have to keep in mind
there's a level of elegance in this show that maybe they're trying to achieve. But like, if I'm going to go yell at my sister because she's playing tennis too much, I'm not going to put on a turtleneck and culottes or something like that. That actually doesn't look like a turtleneck at all, but.
I think we have to keep in mind that the animators were mostly men too, so maybe they're out of touch with what young girls wear, and they're just kind of coming up with things.
Do you think that's what it is?
I don't know. I think that's a possibility.
It seems like they would just be. This would be Cutey Honey then, right? and even Cutey Honey, before her clothes tear off, she's wearing like all kinds of different outfits.
Sure,
you are. Way underestimating. First of all, you brought this up. You are suggesting perversion, and you are way underestimating the Japanese pervert.
Well, I guess you're right about that.
I'm not cheating. I have seen only the episodes of Sailor Moon Crystal that basically match up with what we're doing now. Mm-hmm. And one of my big gripes about Crystal, and I have a lot of them, is that when Usagi transforms, she doesn't transform into a doctor or a reporter or a member of the Misfits who wants to kill Jim that looks like, authentic or that it's like believable. Mm-hmm. She just becomes like a fetish version of whatever that is. So like when she becomes a doctor to go to the cram school.
Yes.
She gets one of those like, she just looks like she's out of like a ecchi anime or something like that,
It's gross.
Yeah. So anyway, what I'm saying is that It's not because I don't know what a lady wears. I just won't do it. My wife is 45. That's not what they're doing. Like,
Okay.
I think it's that they're trying to give it some elegance, because it's the same. Why is Usagi blonde?
Well, yeah,
Right?
I know.
This is a world where people are elegant and they wear nice clothes.
Yes.
Even like they dress like Faye Dunaway to go down to the tennis thing and yell at their sister.
Right.
Because otherwise it would just be two long, dark-haired girls in white T-shirts, and sneakers,
Yeah, I suppose.
going to the tennis school.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, you have a point.
Answer my own question.
And then I wanted to talk a little bit about the tennis outfits too. Like, Rui is wearing like a very typical like Western like tennis outfit, like a polo shirt, like a turquoise polo shirt, a tennis skirt, and headband, sweat. What do you call it? Like the headband, sweatband, and then I think she has stuff on her wrists too.
It
Or
was
maybe not.
yeah. It was. I got like soldier costume vibes out of it.
It kind of looks like their outfits.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should mention, too, because we have to, because it's his first episode, Nephrite's civilian outfit, which I think is kind of like, he is so ostentatious. Like his home, the car, the outfit, maybe he's trying to blend in, maybe he thinks he is, but I feel like he sticks out like a sore thumb. But
he had also, I thought, a real comic book adult man, like trying to be cool,
yes,
type thing. Like I could definitely see, like the times that Professor X could walk, he would wear like a blazer and slacks and like a turtleneck like that.
Yes,
this is a real Terry Long outfit. Like I could totally see swap the mullet for like a Jufro, and like you've got a Terry Long.
Right. Yeah, he's got like blue slacks, a yellow button-up shirt, and like I think a purple blazer. At least it looks purple to me, which is just crazy. And then of course, Usagi being trapped in a large tennis ball. So I mean, that's just kind of hilarious.
It's not really close, but yeah.
Or fair. So I wanted to mention just briefly, like, on the episode, I feel like the Yoma had the name that you mentioned.
Yeah.
But then looking up the episode, the name was spelled differently. It was Tessuni. So I don't know how there is a discrepancy there. But I thought we should talk about our villain gauge, where we rate a baddie 1 to 5 dark stars, 5 being the most wicked. And we talk about our Nephrite's first Yoma. I mean, you talked about her flat top hair and her crazy outfit and the fact that she comes out of the tennis racket. And, that she kind of has like these tennis abilities and that sort of thing too.
I'm going to 2.
Oh, okay. That's low, huh?
Have I given anybody a 1?
I don't know if you did. I feel like maybe you gave Morga a 1, she was the first bad guy.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe.
Not great. And let me do the hat trick of my comic book references here.
Yeah.
To me, we've had a couple Yoma like this, but it really stands out in this one. I have a friend who is a comic artist, and he talks about. I won't bring the smoke on this show, but he talks about a specific artist who is a very famous artist. Mm-hmm. And whenever he designs his interpretations of known characters, even characters that he's co-created with other people, great. But whenever he's on a book and he's introducing like, here's a new character that I created, that person is always clad head to foot in like black, like a black leotard or all black. No detail on their costume.
Sure, yeah.
Because this person is just not
really
imaginative when it comes to like a superhero's costume design. And that's what this seems like to me. All the character is in the hair and then that weird sort of mantle that they've got. But the rest is just like black, all black.
Yeah.
And also tennis themed somehow.
Yes.
And she's got the power to, even if she's not shrinking somebody, and I argue that she is, because when Usagi gets inside the ball bounces up in front of the triangular block of tennis lights.
Yes.
And she looks ball-sized. But later, and maybe he's farther away from it, closer to the camera, but later Tuxedo Mask jumps up in front of the lights and he is full-size. So anyway, that's all I'm saying. But she has this power to like encase people in tennis balls.
I know, which is silly.
Once, and then that's it.
Well, that's true.
So not impressed.
I'm gonna give her 3. I maybe it's just because I'm excited because Nephrite's here and he's a different bad guy. And I like that our Yoma seem to be themed. But maybe that's being a little bit too generous. I did want to talk a little bit more about the symbol on the tennis racket, which we talked about is Nephrite's evil crest. And I did a little bit of digging if it has any meaning or not. And some people have done some hypothesizing that the symbol is actually a kind of stylized version of the character in katakana that's ne, so ne, so the beginning of Nephrite's name.
Huh.
So this is what the katakana looks like, and so you can kind of tell it's a little bit stylized like that. And then like there are other like kanji, like so bigger, more complicated, the Chinese characters that will have like that as like the maybe a symbol like that that's like the left part of the kanji, like the left radical or what have you. So that there's some speculation that that's what it is, and it's like him saying like it's like part of his name. So we've come to the part of the episode where we rate the episode 1 out of 5 roses, 5 being the best. And I think I'm going to give it a 3. I think it's just I'm excited to have Nephrite on board. And I see what else he's going to bring to the table. And my English title is Smash Cut Underserving the Dark Kingdom.
Underserving?
Yeah, because it's kind of a play on tennis.
Oh, no. We should, from now on, you do the English title.
Okay.
I'll do the cheesy
bad
Viz title.
English title? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that.
Well, now I got to do it on the spot. Okay, I will rate it 2.
Okay. Fair.
Or in Chernobyl speak, 3.6. Not great, not terrible. I hope they're not all going to be sports themed from here on out. We do get to see Usagi, who I guess I was worried about being overshadowed by the other Sailor Scouts, but it does get to do something on her own, kind of. We move the Tuxedo Mask thing forward, but still, I mean, it's pretty much just a 2 for me.
Okay.
Although I do like Usagi standing up for herself, even though she's being ganged up on, and also doing her job, but doing it in a slightly self-serving way. So
right.
not too dumb. A 5 on the dumb bunny scale.
I was going to ask you about the
this
dumb
week.
bunny scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the goofy dumb title, which they already took match point, which would have been the one to go with, would be Love Usagi.
Oh, I get it. Very nice. Next episode, we are talking about episode number 15. Usagi Aseru Reichan Hatsu Deito in Japanese, or Usagi's Panic, Rei's First Date, the English translation.
Or Dato.
Yes, in the English title, An Unnatural Phenomena.
Wow, not even... Okay, that's... they're teeing me up because they weren't even trying on that one.
No, they weren't.
Okay.
Well, that's it for our show this week. In the name of the moon, we'll be punishing you next week with another episode of Sailor Noob.
Do